Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Okay, so I'm now here. I don't know what the sound effect's going to be, but I'm here with Dr. Alviene. And I have to say that he is such a jewel because we're at the radio station, but unfortunately the door's locked and our engineer has had some personal problems and he's not here. So we're doing this live right in the foyer part of the radio station. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you have such a nice attitude. And why don't you, maybe the best thing you could do is share your attitude about when things happen that are not expected and how do you deal with it?
Well, we did it this morning. So first thing that usually happens is when a situation out of the ordinary pops up, whether it be good or bad, you get that first emotional feeling on how am I going to handle this? Oh, somebody's opening the door for us. Maybe we can go inside here.
Can you?
Thank you.
Okay, so as we open the door, let's do it in here. Okay, wait a second now. Just stay there.
Here, I'll hold this, you grab the bags.
Yeah,
How about
okay.
that?
We don't want to lose this. Here. Okay, let's just do it right here.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. So, why don't you sit down over there?
There you go.
Sit down over there and I'll...
Worked out well.
Okay, it did. Okay, so we're here with Dr. Alviene, and we were just discussing, so things didn't turn out the way we had expected for you to be on the show. So tell me about that.
So I drove here this morning, I pull into the parking lot and Anita's standing outside with 2 car doors open and the trunk open on her car. So thinking, okay, she's getting some stuff out for the radio show, she might need some help. I get out of the car and she tells me our engineer's not here. The Facebook Live, since we can't be on the air right now. And my attitude towards it came, well, I could kick and scream about it. I could get mad and be like, I can't believe I got up this early to come down here to get on the radio show. I can say, well, this happened. I'm not going to make this change the rest of my day because something like this just, no big deal. Here I am. I'm alive. I woke up, and Anita and I are still talking.
Yeah, we are. And I don't know how the sound is coming. So if anyone's listening, why don't you just go onto Facebook and tell us if you can hear this? I'm never sure because these phones don't pick up the way our microphone does. That's when we do it, but that's okay. Let's assume it's okay. You're just so attractive. It doesn't matter. They could just look at you anyway, right? So let's talk about what's happening at your office. You're under some major reconstruction, but you've been able to handle it. So why don't you discuss that?
Yeah, so we needed to expand our office because our patient load has been getting pretty high up in the office, and we've been having periods where patients are waiting to get into a room and some doctors and other staff are standing around because there's therapies going on. So we needed to expand so we can see more people because we have the ability to. Starting next week, we're going to be moving into the first half of our new office space.
And tell us where that is.
We're on Yamato Road by Lifetime Fitness. So we're between Congress and Military, 1449 Yamato Road. And this coming week, we start on the new half of the office, which is still not enough space yet. But the old office is going to go under reconstruction, and in about 2 to 3 months, we're going to have a larger office that will be able to handle the amount of patients we expect to see.
And that's the important thing, that so many people now are paring down and you're expanding because you must be giving such good expertise and helping people so much. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
I think that's the main thing, is that we're focusing on making sure we can help people function. We want to make sure people can get out there and do what they want to do each day. And it's not about, okay, dollars and cents when they come into the office. It's about who can we help. And since we're helping people, we're expanding, we're growing out of our space.
So Dr. Alviene, tell me, how do you help people? Tell us what you do specifically and what your office does with all your other physicians.
Well, interesting enough, I have a case study. I was speaking with a patient yesterday, and I'm not going to use the name for HIPAA reasons, but she did give me permission to tell her story. So she was excited that she was going to be on the radio, but even though we're not using her name, she's like, yes, please get out there and tell them what we did. So she came to us probably about 6 or 7 months ago, and she was unable to ride her horse. That was her main focus. She goes, I need to be able to ride my horse.
This is an unusual story. I love this.
I know, it's great. So I just being in the area, people have different things that they want to be able to do. And after we did the evaluation, I felt certain that the issue that she had going on with her low back, her hip, that we would be able to get her back on her horse. I wasn't sure the exact amount of time it would take, but I knew within a relatively short period of time we'd get her back on her horse.
So what happened to her that she couldn't get on the horse?
She rode somebody else's horse that wasn't hers, and it bucked and knocked her off.
Oh my.
So she landed. She had originally bruised some ribs. The ribs had healed, but she was still having issues with her hip, her low back, and wasn't able to get on the horse without being in severe pain.
And you can help that?
We did, yes. So with what she had, we brought her through some therapies. I remember specifically having a session with her that she came into the office about 3 weeks into the treatment, and she just broke down crying. She was still not able to get on her horse. She was going into depression. She was thinking that she was never going to be able to ride her horse again. And we just had to have that conversation that it's going to take time. You just need to follow the plan that we're doing. She was following it at that time. These are stepping stones. You got to repair the body, and once it gets repaired, she'll be getting
So,
back on.
okay, so tell us some of the things that you did.
With her, she had an issue with the pelvis. If you look at the pelvis had twisted when she landed. It got knocked out of place, and it was causing a lot of muscle spasms on the one side, which was actually pitching a nerve known as the sciatic nerve, and she was getting these shooting pains down her leg. And anytime she got on the horse, it was just sharp pain down the legs.
Okay, but before you continue, so even in her everyday life, she probably was in pain.
Oh yeah, she was having issues walking.
Wasn't just getting on the horse.
Correct. But we tied it in that her focus, I need to get back on that horse. So that's where we always looked at is, yeah, you may be walking now, but she wants to get on her horse. And we did therapies with her that worked the muscles of the pelvis to get them to release. We adjusted the joints to get them to start moving better, to get them back into a more normal position. And through the process of the therapy, she was seeing us 3 times a week for about 6 weeks. It took that long to get her pelvis back to a more normal position, but at 6 weeks she got on her horse.
Oh my gosh, that is such a fabulous story, and she's feeling better too. Now,
Yeah.
Does she have to keep? I mean, could it slip back to the way it was, or?
Most likely it won't go back to the way it was because she had fallen off a horse and it got moved in a traumatic position. So we were able to help bring it back to a more normal position that she was used to before, and she's back to riding her horse. But she does understand that just like brushing your teeth or going to the gym or eating right, that she comes in periodically just to get checked to make sure everything's sitting well, so she doesn't go through that process of not being able to ride her horse.
Well, that is a unique story, but it says something. I think you brought up the fact that motivation is probably the best medicine, isn't it? Was she on any medication, though, for the pain? Tell me.
She was doing Advil, so she had
Or Aleve or things like that,
using
huh?
ice at home and other things like that to help with the discomfort. Some of the other instructions we had gone through. But the main thing was she spent the time and put in the effort to get the treatment that she needed to, got through the process, and now she comes in for maintenance just to get checked and tells me about her ride on the horse every time. And she said going to her horse is her therapy.
So, Dr. Alviene, though, you said something that's really important. I know from talking with other doctors that when you have problems like this, you use the word ice, and I know that, but everybody thinks you put heat on it, and I've been told that what that does actually maybe feels comfortable, but it doesn't do what you need. Ice needs to stop the pain or whatever. You tell us about the difference in ice and heat, please.
Okay, ice and heat. Ice you want to use in acute situations. So when you're first injured, when there's swelling, there's a lot of pain, ice can be used to help reduce that pain, reduce the swelling. After about anywhere from 72 hours, so 3 days on up to 4 weeks, depending on the injury, we would transfer over to heat. But there's two types of heat that people can use. One is electric heat, the other one is moist heat. So an electric heat is when the heating element that's on you has a coil through it. It's usually plugged into the wall, and then a metal or copper or some other coil goes through the pad, and when you put that on the tissue, it feels good while it's on, but the electric dehydrates your tissue, so usually when you take it off, you feel worse. The other option
That's called a heating pad, isn't it?
Well,
without water.
But there's two types of
Okay, right.
There's also the moist heat. Now, moist heat can come from anything that has water inside the system. So you could have sand. Sand usually has hydration inside of it. So you could have a sand pack that you put in the microwave and warm up. You could have one that plugs into the wall, but it has a sand or gel-based heating element. That's moist heat. So anything that's considered moist heat is something that's not an electrical coil. So if it has sand, if it has gel, if it has clay, if it's water that you warm up, all of that's moist heat, and that doesn't dehydrate the system. So that'll make you feel better, but you won't feel worse when you take it off.
Okay, well, see, that's really important. You do know people don't understand about putting the ice, and that was a good thing that you said to people.
Yeah, that's a conversation we have right at the beginning.
I'm sure.
Office, yes.
Well, the other day, and I don't have leg or hip or any problem, and I don't know what happened. I think maybe I was walking down too many steps. Something happened in my hip. One hip started having pain for the hip and the upper leg. And people, not physicians, said, it's your back, it's your lower back. They were prescribing everything. You got to put this on, you got to put that on, and you better go to so and so. Well, I know my body enough to say no. I put ice on it, and I kept it on there for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and then I let it go. And next morning I woke up, it was perfect, no problem.
It's great. It's great.
It is great, and you can appreciate that. If I listened to them, it would have been a big deal, and it wasn't. And I don't know what I did, but whatever happened. And so I have our administrator, Dan, whom you know, he suffers with a back problem, and of course he had his heat. I said, Dan, have you tried ice? No. I said, get yourself an ice pack, or get yourself a plastic bag and put some ice in it. See if it feels better. And sure enough, it did feel better. Now, I don't know his condition, but even to feel better was important.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, it was really, it was a wonderful thing. Okay, we're doing Facebook right now, so we'll come up there. But we're just going to wait. We'll give him a little time to get it going, and then we'll get off Facebook. But what we're going to do is we'll put you into the next show. We'll do a show on the radio. But this is an experiment because, actually, this is funny. If this works, I can now go to people's places and do Facebook. Now, it's not going to be as clear as on the radio because all that is, very high tech. But wouldn't this be nice that if you had patients, I could come there, I could do Facebook Live? So sometimes, what we're doing is we're making a problem or we're making a situation to something new and better.
Yeah, now that we've done this, wait till we have the grand opening.
That's right. See, we could do this with everyone. Oh, I love this whole thing. My only concern, and no one has said anything about it, I'd like to know if they can hear us, because I can hear us perfectly, and it sounds wonderful. They'll hear us, but I don't know. Now, I don't have a strong voice, and you do. We'll see if it makes a difference. And we'll just keep doing this for a while until he gets everything set up, and then we'll go back up there, and we'll figure out, and then we'll get on the actual radio show so we can do it. So you get two things today.
Not bad.
Facebook, right. Of course, I'm probably going to run out of juice, but that's okay. But let's get back to, so that was one of your patients. Does another patient stand out to you that you can think about? Something as serious as that, maybe someone's going to get married or someone had to go on a trip or something like that and they needed you?
We get a lot of people that it's like, I'm leaving town in a week. And unfortunately, usually if it's they're coming into the office and it's a week before we go, we might get them feeling a little bit better, but we're never getting the problem corrected. Usually a week's too short of a time to correct things when somebody has something going on. But the overall thing is...
And then other things happen, right?
Oh yeah, the body is, as much as it's alive, it's also a machine. So if you don't pay attention to something, it's going to continually get worse and worse and worse. We've probably all done that with somewhere with one portion of our body, whether it be watching your weight or your exercise or even brushing your teeth. Some people get into a habit where, oh, yeah, my tooth hurts today, but I won't, it'll be fine, and then they run into a point where they have to do a root canal when it could have probably just been something like a simple cavity fill at the beginning.
Well, I don't know how long we've been on Facebook, but what I'm going to do is say, okay, we're going to finish this here, and we're going to go upstairs.
Them in order for them to actually have to make that trip to your office a few times a week and believe that what we're doing is going to help them get to what they want. If they don't, you're not going to see the patient again.
So where did you learn that? From being a massage therapist, or what did you do as a little kid? What were you like? You must have been very cute. Your wife's saying, yeah.
We'll have to ask my mother that. She goes, oh, great, don't make his head any bigger.
But no, it's funny you mention your mother. I noticed, Dr. Alviene, that when people have a lot of self-confidence and they're pretty special people, you always can attribute it to their mother, or maybe to their father, but mostly to their mother. Do you think about that? Do you see that?
Family is important, and one of the things that I've learned at mine is I can't take my past, whether it was good or bad, and base it on my decisions today. My parents were great, though. They still are. They're still with us. I'm fortunate enough that both my mother and father are still here.
Hello, Mom and Dad.
Hopefully they're listening.
Okay.
Anyway, so growing up, I was the youngest child of 3. I was the only boy, so you can say I was probably spoiled in that aspect, but I didn't see it because I was the one living it. And my parents didn't pressure me to go to college. They didn't pressure me for any of that. It was, do what you want to do. The only thing they asked was that I got my high school diploma. They said, please just finish high school, get that, and then whatever you want to do it. We'll support you. If you want to go to work, if you want to go to college, and there was no push to go one way or another. And because of that, when I first graduated high school, I had no intention on ever going back to school. I guess that didn't work out too well for me.
No, that didn't. You know, I think maybe at this point with people listening, they're a little confused because Mr. Markowitz, who is the CPA, should have been on from 7 to 7:30, and Dr. Alviene should have been on at 6:30 to 7. We had some problems here at the radio station, technical problems, and so we've kind of switched. We put Mark Morowitz on for maybe 10 minutes, the last half hour, and now Dr. Alviene is going to be continuing for this half hour. But I just wanted to make people know who they were expecting, and I know that the wonderful people from the Volin Center didn't get on, but we'll get you back on, Kim. Sorry about that, but it was raining and we had technical problems, but we're back in shape here now, so you can continue. I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Well, thank you.
Now let's talk a little bit about your book again, because you're a very busy physician, and yet you are tampering and trying to write a book. It's not easy because you have children, you have baby, you have 2. No, what do you have?
So
again?
My youngest is 8.
Yeah. It's 8. It's young.
The other ones are teenagers.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So you got plenty to do. But so how do you hold yourself up somewhere to write the book? How do you do that?
I don't know. No, so I do. So with this, I've taught students many a times that there's 168 hours in the week. And if you look at it that way, you can always find time that you are able to do something that you wouldn't normally do. If you're not paying attention to those hours, they just tick away. But if you know where you're doing the things that you probably shouldn't be wasting time and really should be working on something, you can make it happen. And I think I spoke last week, but one of the tips I give people when they need to focus on doing something is I do the 20-minute rule. Work on something for 20 minutes at a time, uninterrupted. Turn your cell phone off, lock yourself in the room, let everybody know that for the next 20 minutes, don't bother me. Go in, turn everything off, and become hyper-focused. Set an alarm, 20 minutes. When that alarm goes off, let yourself out of it wherever you are, even if you feel like you can do more, and then go back and interact.
That's great, the 20-minute rule.
Yeah.
You're going to have that in your book, I hope.
I have that in in the Steps to Writing a Book, the first one that I did.
That's right, I forgot. Yeah, you have to talk about that's right. That's a beautiful thing.
So if you want to work for an hour, you do 20 minutes. Maybe take a 5-minute break, walk around, get up, move around, do whatever it is you need to do, come back, and then focus again for 20 minutes.
That's very important for me. See, Don, when we're on the show, we do 30 minutes and 30, we're focused. Every time there's another interview, we're focused, and we do accomplish a lot. But basically, when I'm at my office or home, I don't do that. I'm doing just what you said. I'm working, I'm getting up, I'm talking. I should really start doing this for 20 minutes. I'm not being rude, but I'm really not going to take any calls or anything, right?
Yeah, you just let everybody know if they need to know. Okay, for the next 20 minutes, I'm focusing on this. Shut a door, whatever you need to do, turn everything off, set an alarm for the 20 minutes so when it goes off, you release yourself from whatever it is that you were working on. So when I'm writing, if I'm in a creative process, I'm just typing and just writing stuff down in the thoughts that are in my head. Not worried about punctuation, not worried about grammar, not worried about the difference between there, and there at that point, because I'm just writing the stuff down to get it onto paper. Then I might do another 20 minutes where I'm just working on editing, and I'll reread what I wrote, I'll change the grammar like I'm supposed to, and after 20 minutes, put it away, and I might work on the book for 40 minutes a couple times a week.
I want to make sure everybody can get to you. It's called Totality Chiropractic, totalitychiropractic.com. Totality, Totality, chiropractic.com in Boca Raton. And this is Dr. Jason Alviene, Alviene. I just want to make sure so people want to get you. They can get to you. Okay, so what you said, the 12-minute rule, is really interesting. And so a lot of times I have to work a lot more than the 12 minutes. So you're saying, but just get up anyway, whatever you have to do, and then go back. But at least take a break.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The mind needs that break. Some people might be able to say it works for them for 15 minutes. Other people might be able to do 30 minutes. I do 20 minutes. It just seems to work well for me, and I think it works well for most people, but you have to kind of feel out what your time might be. Somebody might only be able to start out with 10 minutes. It's like an exercise. Then start out with 10 minutes, take a break. But don't pay attention to the phone, don't pay attention to the Facebook notifications, the text messages, any of that. Otherwise you get distracted and then your work isn't as well as you'd like it to be.
So how many minutes do you give your patients in a general way? Let's just say typically they come in to see you. How long do you spend?
Well, it would depend on the appointment. So if it's an initial appointment, their first time there, we have to have what's going on with you and know where they're at. So that's probably about a 30-minute appointment. So they're coming in, the paperwork's being filled out, we're going through the process of finding out what's going on, if we can help them, and then possibly if it's safe that day to do some therapies with them. So that would be first initial appointment. The second appointment we call our report of findings. This is where you come in and we say, okay, this is everything that we found. This is the therapies we think. This is how long we think it's going to take. This is how much we think it's going to cost for you over the course of a treatment plan to get you to whatever it is that you decided that you wanted to do. If it's riding a horse, riding a bike, running, sitting at a computer longer, playing with your kids, it's usually something that they're not able to do anymore. So we go through that. Then during the treatment process, the time that they'll actually spend with me, probably about 2 minutes per treatment, because they're coming in, they're going to have certain therapies that may be done by the chiropractic assistants. I call them my chiropractic nurses in the office. They'll do some of the therapies. I'll come in, build a little rapport as far as how is everything going today? Are we getting improvements? Are you able to start doing more of what you're looking for? Or are we still not quite there yet? So we get that idea. Then I go through the process of finding out what's going on with the spine or the joints, adjust them, and then set them up for the next appointment. So the process of doing the treatment would be similar to as you're going to an MD and you took a medication. The medication, you're not meeting with the doctor. You're taking it out, you're doing the medication, waiting for it to work. Each time I do the adjustment, it's a little stepping process and we wait for it to work. And that can be 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, depending on what's going on with the person.
Well, that sounds fair. and of course, sometimes people, I don't know how to say this, they like the attention. And they're going to come in because, I mean, maybe they're feeling better, but some older adults especially, and I think you've seen that, where they don't have anybody to talk to.
Oh, yes.
And they use you as they're talking. And of course, you started out as a massage therapist, and you know better than anyone. That was part of the treatment, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the conversation is always there, but there's usually, because at the beginning when someone's seeing us frequently, there's sufficient enough time within a 2-minute period to really talk to somebody. Now, as they start moving on to more of the maintenance care and just getting checked once in a while, they may be coming once a month, once every 6 weeks. The conversation tends to be a little bit longer, but the treatment tends to be a little bit shorter at that time because they're doing better. Not much work needs to be done when everything's holding like it's supposed to.
That's terrific. Okay, so we are on Facebook Live now. I know my arm's shaking a little bit, not much. I'm trying to keep it set. It's Dr. Jason Alviene, and you can go to their website, which is totalitychiropractic.com. Okay, so you're in the process of recreating your center now. You as you said,
Oh, yeah.
It's grown so much because I think you said there are 7 now physicians, 7 people, not only all physicians.
Well, we have 3 chiropractors, a DO, a physical therapist, and 2 massage therapists. And we also have an acupuncturist that comes in to the office that do treatment that are licensed. But then we also have the chiropractic assistants in the office that do a lot of the therapies in conjunction with us, so we can help as many people as possible.
And the most important thing is that you have great office staff, because you know there's no one that can turn someone off faster than going in and the person ignoring you. And I mean, it is, I used to do this for companies. I would go in and go in as a mystery guest and see what things go out. It's hard because when I tell them the facts, everybody gets very upset. But whether it's answering the phone or whether it's going in there, because that's half of the visit.
Oh, yeah. And if you notice that the staff in the office usually will work in conjunction to the way they're being treated in the office as well.
The leadership, right?
If the leadership is off, you'll notice it throughout the entire organization, no matter how big or small. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying the staff is nice, I'm hoping they're getting it from us, the physicians that are there, that are typically running the day-to-day operations.
Okay, well that sounds like it's a really good thing. So you're when you get finished, you think in 2 months you're going to have the office functioning the way it was before with the, all the equipment you had and all. But it must be very difficult working in that situation right now.
It's it allows you to get resourceful.
That's right.
And it gets you to think outside of the box. It gets you to work the best way you can with still delivering the patients with what they need. And it's amazing, as the office, the new side was being built and we're in the old side and we're not repairing things, and the office paint and the floors and things are starting to get a little worse because it's time to redo things, but we're not, because we're waiting for the process of the whole office is being redone. It's amazing to look at an office and feel like it's not as good looking as it could be, yet people are still coming in. So we know it's not just the office that draws people in the office, it's the people that work there.
It's always been that. I'd like to go into exercise a little bit now. I know you have a physical therapist, but what do you tell your patients as far as exercise? Let's say the younger ones can do something different, but the older adults should be exercising how? Just give some people, we have about 10 minutes, give us what your prescription would be.
Well, first thing comes in, it really depends on how healthy the person is and what their body's capable of doing. But on our intake form, we always have a section for exercise. Are you exercising or are you not exercising? So if somebody's not exercising, we would like to find out what's the reason for that. It might just be they don't want to. Or it might be because they're hurt, they're not able to. So I like to find out what the person has either done in the past or what it is that they're currently doing, because we want to gear people towards what do you like to do. If you don't like doing exercise, but you like, say, playing a sport, let's get you doing more of that because it gets you using your body. It's all about using the body and being as functional as possible. So each person that comes in the office, it's going to be a different story. It's never really a cookie cutter, this is what you're doing. I have people that like to ride horses, that's an exercise. People that like to ride bikes, other ones that run. Pickleball, it's something new that I learned in the past few years, but it's a very popular game down here that I'm finding a lot of people are really enjoying. Tennis, some people like just going for walks. As long as you're getting out there using your body, it's going to last longer.
Is swimming good?
Oh, I love it. I love it. As far as swimming goes, if you can do freestyle or butterfly type of swimming, that's going to help the spine immensely, especially if you have scoliosis. Anybody with scoliosis should be swimming. It just helps balance you out a little bit more outside of getting adjusted at the office. Personally, I swim. I have a slight scoliosis, but if I'm not swimming, I notice a difference in my posture as well. So swimming is wonderful.
Yeah, and of course, because of the aerobic part of it too. I know that there are a lot of communities, excuse me, that have actual swimming classes, and they do all these kinds of things. Remember the Esther Williams? I'm sorry, that's you don't remember that, so long ago when they started having these fancy swimmers, doing all these things. I grew up in Miami Beach, and so that was all part of the world there. But I'm glad you mentioned that. But I have to say that a lot of condominiums have exercise rooms. Even offices now have exercise rooms. But sometimes people use the machines wrong and they wind up in your office.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you'll find that some of these exercise rooms that are being put in, they're not being used. They're empty. And I think a part of the emptiness is, one, it's a machine, so it gets a little more boring because you're staring at a wall.
No, now you can watch TV while you're doing that.
And but people, even with that TV, it's on your phone, it's on everything now. So watching TV while you're exercising versus sitting at your desk and looking at it on a phone, it's not as interesting. So you have to make the exercise interesting. So this is where having an instructor or a personal trainer or a health organizer, somebody that can put together things that are more fun and exciting outside of just going in there and walking on a treadmill.
I have started with his name is Chris Mazzola, and he is a coach. He has a small center, and he has, I don't know if he has 10 machines. And what happens is you get on for 1 minute and then a bell goes off.
Okay.
You get on another one, a bell goes off, and he watches you. I just started there with him. And when my hip bothered me a little bit, I didn't know if it was from that or not, but since it got better so fast, I figured maybe it wasn't. I'm going to go back there now because every machine is a little different, and he's there watching you. So that's, I think it's called 50 Fitness. I have to get the name again, but he was on the radio show, and I am going there. Now, it's a little dry for me because my condominium has all the equipment. But you're right. I sit on there for 2, maybe sometimes 20 minutes watching CNN or something. But it is different to go to a place where there's someone there and they're watching you, and so I'm going to go back and do that.
Oh, yeah. And you said it right there. You're willing to leave your complex and travel somewhere and spend money because you find more value and more fun in working there than you do on the one that's provided for you at your condo.
Although last night, though, I did have a little time, and I did spend, I think, 10 minutes and 2 miles on a bike doing it because I felt I needed to do something.
Yes.
But that 20-minute rule I'm going to now live with that. I have to tell you, I love that 20-minute rule. I need that more than anyone because I do a lot of work, and I could go on for a few hours, but it's not a good thing. I should just get up, go get a drink of water, or say hello, or do something, and then go back, or whatever I have to do.
And that can be used in any environment, even at the office. If somebody's had a desk job, if you're sitting for too long, you're going to be in my office eventually because you're going to be sore. So if you're taking those 20 minutes and getting up, 30 minutes, I would say would be one of the max I would put people sitting for. You got to get up and move around. When the body sits in one position for too long, it starts to change, and it's usually not for the better.
Well, let me tell everybody that my guest again is a charming gentleman, as you hopefully are seeing. I'm moving it around, but it's okay. Hi. Dr. Jason Alviene, that's Alviene, and he is with Totality Chiropractic. They're located in Boca Raton. And I think we really have covered a lot of things that most people are curious about, the heat versus the cold. Of course, we did a lot of things on Facebook earlier. So This is Facebook Live now from the 7 to 7:30 hour, but we did from 6:30 to 7 or thereabouts, we did a Facebook Live, so you can get that also. And then it's not as clear as it is now, but it certainly was a good intervention for us, wasn't it?
We learned.
We did learn. I know that I now can do something like that. I don't know why I didn't think about it now. I don't know how long you really, I guess that you can do as long as you want on Facebook. I mean, I think so too. Well, we're running out of time on our real radio show, but you were very sweet. See, I know so much about your personality now, the way you were just so relaxed and made such a nice thing about this, and I appreciate that very much.
Well, I appreciate
being
and
we'll see you again next week, and thank you very much. Have a great week.
All right.